Fox Sports NBA guy. So you had success in your career against Chris Paul, who just completely took over the game last night. Completely took it over. You guarded him a lot. Now, you're a bigger physical player, so you could probably impose your will a little bit on Chris because of your size and your athletic ability. What did you do that others didn't because you had some success against a younger Chris Paul?
Yeah, Chris Paul is definitely the point guard. He's one of those guys you definitely can't stop. But every player has something that makes them uncomfortable in their game. And I played for Greg Popovich. I played for Mike Brown and Rick Carlisle. And they were big on scouting reports and saying what players don't like to do during that game. And Chris Paul is a 98% right-hand driver. You let him get to that right hand, he can pass, he can score, he can do a large amount of things with the ball in his right hand. In the left hand, it's limited. He can't really pass with his left. He can't really throw back over his right shoulder with the left. And he's not comfortable really shooting going left. Everything is really dominant in his right hand. I had a chance to speak with P.J. Tucker last year around the playoff times and kind of gave him some clues to guard Chris Paul. And it definitely helped the rest of that series. But if you let him go right, he's going to be the best. He's going to be the best point guard in the world that everybody says he is.
Yeah. You know, Luka's interesting. I said earlier, Stephen, he's a bigger James Harden. That's what I'm seeing. So he always has the ball. He initiates a ton of contact. He gets 35 in his sleep, and he looks exhausted by the end of the game because he's got the ball usage rate is through the roof. And, I mean, everybody goes, no, Luka's better. But 5 years ago, we were talking about James Harden being one of the great guards analytically in the history of the sport. And I just think it's too much Luka all the time. Jump ball, he's taking the shots, he's got the ball. I don't know if you can win titles that way. To me, I just see a ceiling with winning championships if Luka has the ball in his hands that much. Your thoughts?
James was a perfect example. James had his best years in Houston, and I guess he thought, and Dan Foney thought that type of offense was going to win championships, and Kobe didn't agree, and nobody agreed because that's not winning basketball, especially with one star. Luka's great. Don't get me wrong. Luka's a great scorer. He's a great offensive talent. He doesn't give you much on defense, and he's just not that leader, that vocal leader that'll get everybody going. But Dallas also made a big mistake, Colin. Game 3, they brought Luka back. Jalen Brunson was balling. He was rolling, and they were up 2-0. They brought Luka back too early and ended up losing that game. Still won the series, but you was giving Jalen Brunson a lot of confidence and the confidence that you needed, and for him to be the Robin to Batman, which is Luka. And in order for that team to be successful, they need another star. They took the confidence from Jalen Brunson early, and I think that was a bad move on J. Kidd.
So Warriors-Grizzlies is a feisty series, and I love it. And now the other day I said this about Dillon Brooks. He's their tough guy, whatever that means, but he's a little bit like their Draymond. And I felt that Memphis was saying, listen, your guy Draymond went after one of our guys. Okay, fine. And we may be the kids and the little brother in this series, but you're not going to intimidate us. And so Dillon Brooks came out, and the first opportunity for a hard foul in that game, he went right after Peyton. Now, I don't like what happened to Peyton. I don't like the result. But I said sometimes in sports, intimidation's really valuable, and that's what it felt like he was doing. Were you totally bothered by it? Is it totally cheap? How did it land for you?
Yeah, I'm a fan of Dillon Brooks, but I have to be honest with you, Colin. I'm going to knock all his teeth out. Every last one of them. That was dirty. It was completely dirty. Draymond was a hard foul. Draymond tried to actually catch the guy in the air. It was a hard foul. Yeah, he came across his face. And that would be a flagrant one. A flagrant one coming across his face. But Dillon Brooks, this was a cheap shot. He had no effect on the play whatsoever. He came in and hit the guy straight across his head. No attempt at the ball. This was a straight dirty play. I don't like it. Like I said, if I was in the league right now, I wouldn't play the rest of the series because I'm going to knock somebody out.
Let me ask you this. When you knew you had to make a statement, Stephen, like you went into a game knowing, I'm going to make a statement, what was okay and what was not okay? What was hard and what was dirty?
Well, I can give you a perfect example. I had one of the biggest tasks ever in guarding Dirk Nowitzki in the first round when he was the MVP of the league. I didn't undercut him. I didn't elbow him. I stayed in his face. I let him know it was going to be a difficult night all night. If he didn't like the way I was playing defense, then it could escalate and it can go to a fight. But for the most part, I kept it basketball. I sunned him right. I made it difficult on him. I stayed in his face, and I didn't do nothing dirty. And this way is to stop guys and be physical and make a statement without physically hurting someone, and that's something I was good at.
Stephen, what we're seeing, and you would know this because you were part of a great culture, that the four teams I think are the best in the league are Milwaukee, right now playing the best, Miami, Golden State, and Phoenix. They all have one thing in common: excellent chemistry. Excellent. Milwaukee's missing a player. Miami doesn't really have the A++ star, but chemistry. So I look at Philadelphia, and they have an option at the end of the year to, pick up the Harden contract for 4 or 5 years and like $250 million or not. And this is my argument. James Harden has never been in a team with great chemistry. He's his own dude. He's his own culture, right? And I like him, and I like the deal to get him. But they've got Thibault and Embiid, great size. They got a superstar. Maxey, Stevens, becoming a star in front of our eyes. Yeah. Tobias Harris, a solid 3. Get 20 all the time. I don't think you can have a great culture with James Harden. I wouldn't sign him. And I don't care if I gave up a bunch of late first-round picks. I don't care if I gave up Andre Drummond. I can't commit to him for 5 years. Am I out of my mind?
No, you're not, because like I said earlier, we've seen the best of James Harden in my mind in Houston. And I think he still has talent. I think he has the love of the game. I just don't think he wants to be that star. He don't want to be that go-to guy no more. He want to make his money, float under the radar, and have a big game every now and then. What's going on right now, what you're seeing is Maxey is the Robin to Embiid.
Yeah.
Embiid is Batman and Maxey is the Robin. Maxey is the second best player.
Yep.
And if he continues to be the second best player in these playoffs and averages what he's averaging, then it's going to be an easy decision to make. It's going to be an easy decision to make. Maxey and Embiid, we can have them for a long time, longer than we can have James and Embiid. And Maxey gives you way more on both ends of the ball.
Finally, Bucks-Celtics. We've seen 2 different games. I still like Milwaukee without Middleton. Who do you like and why in the series going forward?
Well, I've always said this. Greek Freak is like Shaq. He's the most dominant player in the game, but his skills are limited. He can't really shoot. When you find guys like Al Horford, who's just as big as him, who can move his feet, he has trouble. You can give him jump shots. He's not going to really knock him down. And he's going to struggle against Boston because one thing about Boston, 3 teams in the playoffs all have Spurs DNA. And they all prepare for players, and they know what their players do best, and they try to take those things away. Boston is doing a great job of being physical with Greek Freak. Without Middleton, they don't have a closer. Without Middleton, they don't have a guy to make those big shots, those long jumpers when Greek Freak can't get to the basket. And that's what Boston is doing. They're keeping them away from the basket and forcing them to hit jump shots. Without Middleton, it can't get done.
All the smoke with Steven Jackson and Matt Barnes, 2 smart guys who know their stuff. Great seeing you, my man. Love having you on.
Always, my guy. Take care.
All right, Steven Jackson. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.